The PGL Copenhagen Major has concluded, and to the surprise of many, I'm sure, it was NAVI who took home the glory, becoming the first CS2 champions, with JL being crowned MVP of the event. What exactly went right for NAVI this tournament? How did AleksiB and NAVI coach Blade take these young assortment of players and produce a major winning roster? And what does this mean for the likelihood of Simple returning to the starting lineup? After failure to make playoffs in the Paris Major, it was clear that a big change was needed in NAVI. Electronic was not cutting it as IGL, and their idea of just replacing their fifth player again and again was not working. So it was decided that NPL would be removed from the team, and Electronic and Perfecto would be sold to Cloud9, leaving behind Simple and Bit as the last remaining players from their 2021 winning lineup. Rumors began to surface of NAVI going international, and they would confirm these rumors by bringing in AleksiB, who was just let go from Ninjas in Pajamas, JL from Team Apex, and Ema from Gamer Legion. Now on the surface you look at this lineup and think, what the hell are NAVI cooking? But Blade and NAVI had good reasons for bringing them on the team: their numbers. Both JL and Ema averaged a 1.14 rating during their times on their former teams, with their forms being so good that Apex managed a semi-final spot at the Blast Paris Major, while Gamer Legion earned themselves a grand final spot. Both teams would lose only to the victor's Vitality, and so while everyone was focused on Shui and his leading abilities, or Nock and his ability to op at a high level, NAVI saw the potential in these two players and decided to take a gamble. As for AleksiB, it was definitely time for NAVI to have a real IGL, as after Boomblitz left the team, Electronic took over the mantle, and his own personal performance suffered, and so did the results of the team, as apart from one Blast Spring Finals win and a Katowice Grand Finals appearance, NAVI spent most of the 2022 to early 2023 seasons stuck in playoffs, never quite good enough again to reach the finals. Alexi had always been able to work well with a random assortment of names, showing it off in IEM Katowice 2019 by taking number 17 in the world at the time ENTS all the way to the finals. While his time on OG was limited to it being online, he was still able to find some decent results, with second place at Flashpoint Season 2, second at IEM Summer, and while on G2 he placed second with them at IEM Katowice. But that was always the thing with Alexi. He was always a good enough leader to bring his team to the finals, but couldn't quite push him over the edge to win it all. His last win was Blast Pro Series Madrid 2019 against the Prime Astralis lineup just 2 months after they had beaten them in Katowice. Alexi was now being given the best player in the game, along with the backing of one of the most beloved orgs in Counter-Strike. For many, this was the true test for Alexi, a test to show how good of a leader he really is, as his time on NIP, well, nobody's time on NIP truly counts. The first 3 tournaments with the new international lineup were shaky to say the least: a group stage exit in Cologne, quarterfinals in Gamer 8, and their form seemingly peaked at Pro League Season 18, where the team reached finals before losing 0-3 against Maus. After this tournament, and after 7 years of playing under the NAVI name, Simple decided it was time for a break and moved to their inactive roster. This now left Bit as the last remaining Ukrainian player on NAVI, and it left NAVI without a fifth for IEM Sydney. After the tournament, the org would sign Wonderful to the team. Only 18 when they signed him, he had already made a name for himself during his time on Team Spirit and Sprout, even ending among the top 8 players in the 2022 Rio Major. NAVI failed to impress in their debut LAN, but that's to be expected with the fresh new lineup. During the Blast World Finals, they ended in a semifinals run and earned themselves a Blast Spring Finals spot in the next event. While they showed improvement, at Katowice they got knocked into the lower bracket by Spirit. They beat Apex and Eternal Fire to stay alive, now just one series away from playoffs. They lost 2-0 to the new team Falcons. While Katowice wasn't the best showing for the team, next tournament on the calendar would now be PGL Copenhagen Major. So the team's full focus would now be on this tournament. The major doesn't just begin in Copenhagen. For NAVI, it started during the first round of the closed qualifiers, being invited via their Valve ranking, where Valve had them ranked 9th in the world, above Cloud9 but right below their Ukrainian competitors Monte. NAVI earned their spot at the RMR by going 3-0 and 2 best of 1s against Ecstatic the 9 Pandas, and then a best of 3 against Virtus Pro. At the RMRs, NAVI showed just as good form, beginning 2-0 against Koi and Team Enterprise, before dropping to the 2-1 bracket in a rematch against VP. Now at 2-1, they make it to the major following a best of 3 victory against BetBoom. At the major, I don't know how many people had them going beyond the first round of playoffs. I know I didn't, but biases aside, NAVI's form was still holding strong as they started the major off 2-0. However, they were by no means clean victories, finishing 13-10 against the Mongols and 13-11 against G2. They suddenly found themselves 2-2, one loss away from elimination, and thankfully they managed to get back into form and pulled off a 2-0 against Pain and finding themselves where they weren't last major, in the playoffs. Their opponent in the quarterfinals was Eternal Fire, the first Turkish team to ever make the playoffs of a Counter-Strike major. Wonderful put on a masterclass performance, helping lead the team on both maps to a 2-0 finish to the semifinals. The next day was not only their match against G2, but also AleksiB's 27th birthday. Map 1 was Anubis, and the birthday boy himself saved the map for NAVI after winning a 1v2 clutch against Nico and Hunter at 9-9.
19 bullets, everything he needs. Do they double swing? It's going to be Nico down first. Hunter knows it's planted for him. Does he swing off the nade? Jiggle bait! AleksiB!
On Nuke, G2 dominated for most of the match, ending in the 7-13 scoreline, and it will be down to Ancient. G2 were picking up steam early, and on what should have been 4 in a row for the team, JL stopped every bit of momentum G2 had, and the next 7 rounds in a row would be won by NAVI. When NAVI reached 12-6, they almost let the game slip out of their fingers, as G2 managed 5 in a row, putting them 1 round behind from forcing overtime. In the end, NAVI saved themselves the heartache and were now grand finalists of the PGL Copenhagen Major. AleksiB hadn't seen a major grand final in 5 years, ever since his time on ENCE. JL had only reached semifinals last year with Apex. This was Ima's second major final appearance in a row under 2 different lineups, and as for Bit and Blade, they had already won the major back in 2021, but as I've stated, since then the results had been lackluster. NAVI's opponents in the finals was FaZe Clan. As of this video, FaZe has made grand finals of every tournament so far in CS2. They won the first 3, but since then have found themselves in second place every time. Not only would this be the team's second major trophy, it would give Frozen his first, and would end Kerrigan's streak of losses in the Royal Arena. FaZe Clan would reply with an absolutely crushing 13-2 victory on NAVI's own map pick Mirage. After NAVI won the first pistol round, FaZe would win 10 in a row and the following pistol round to tie the series at 1-1. After a defeat like that, nobody expected NAVI to win Inferno in the manner that they did. Matching the dominance FaZe Clan showed on them, they gave up only 1 extra round to the team, and despite having good form all tournament long, Kerrigan dropped only 1 kill on the last map, ending 1-15. The rest of the team played no better, with nobody on the team ending positive. Bit on the other hand went nuclear, getting more than twice as many kills as FaZe's top player Frozen. Despite all the backlash the organization and the players received for the signings, despite losing the #1 player of the game, and despite being up against the #1 team in the world, NAVI's players believed in their captain, believed in themselves, and for that they became the first champions of CS2, taking home $500,000 as a team, and JL was crowned HLTV MVP. NAVI's international experiment is now a success, and with this team now having won the major, what sense would it make to bring Simple back? His first showing of Tier 1 CS2 on Falcons didn't give us gameplay we would typically expect from him, and with Wonderful being only 19 and already a major champion, he still has years to develop and evolve his game even further. What's next for NAVI is to maintain consistency and hopefully continue winning events. The 2025 season is being teased to be one of the biggest we've seen in a while, with PGL and StarLadder both announcing that they will be hosting events next year. There will be a total of 25 tournaments played throughout the entire season. Do you think we should expect to see these 5 players still playing together in the following season?
And what are your expectations for the team moving forward?